Hey guys, thank you so much and welcome to the Game Your Future podcast, all about helping gamers realize their full potential. And it's really about leadership coaching, it's about confidence, and it's about getting you everything you need to really like 10x in your income because as a gamer, you are amazing and you can do amazing things. And I'm on a mission here to help a million gamers realize their full potential through gaming in everything they do. And today I have a very special guest to help us. It is Chad Ellie McGee, who is a wordsmith, rapper, gamer, RPG lover, fantasy lover, also an author and owner of Everest Ingenuity Entertainment Studio. Chad, thank you so much and welcome. How are you?
Hey, Daniel. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, once again, I'm Chad Ellie McGee, uh, author, hip hop musician, all those great things. And thank you very much for having me. Very happy to be here and part of your very cool uh, mindset for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really tapping into that gamer mindset, right? When we're talking about like how do we just take our passion, our love for video games and actually translate that to, real world success. So coming and I'm glad you were interested in coming on the podcast because having somebody musically inclined and being a rapper like yourself as well as an author like very creative, right? The artist kind of route, and wanted to talk through kind of how that journey started, right? Because like I guess start with kind of like how did you get into gaming, how long ago, and then how did that move into and how far did you take that passion with you into kind of what it is you do now?
Yeah. I was born in '88. So back in those days, like the NES was already released and stuff. So when I first started gaming, it was really on the Super Nintendo.
Hmm.
I had cousins who had like the NES and stuff, and like played Super Mario. Like I loved Mario. That was like my first foray into it. Um, but then as I got older, I seeked to something a little bit deeper, and like Zelda and like Final Fantasy started to like grab my interest. The very first Final Fantasy I ever tried was Final Fantasy 3, which was, of course, ended up being six.
Six. Yep.
But I was lost at first. I was like, "Holy, I don't know what I'm doing." I was like, I was just learning how to read. I had no idea how to grasp the concepts, and I got the same thing with like Zelda and stuff. Like Zelda, I was a little lost on at first, but this was like when I was 4 or 5 years old, so I guess I could be given a pass for it. But I still always it's like still intrigued me. Like I really enjoyed um, fantasy things. Like I love like Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and all that stuff as the early '90s kids did. But then like somewhere in the early elementary school, like we were had to read The Hobbit, and like that's when like I got into Tolkien, and that's my goat in terms of like fantasy authors for sure. And then I was like, then I started to understand the RPGs that I always wanted to play a bit more, and then I got more into it. And then actually, fast forward a bit, never really bought like any of the Final Fantasies as on the Super Nintendo because my parents were just like lost on it. They were like
Mm.
rather buy like a Donkey Kong Country. They're like, oh, what's that? I don't. Just buy Donkey Kong Country instead. I was like, all right. But my grandpa, so he got into gaming around the PlayStation because we brought our Super Nintendo over, and he's like, that's pretty cool. Then he saw the PlayStation, right, and then he rented a PlayStation the one time. Then it was game over from there. And then he bought a PlayStation, and then eventually he bought Final Fantasy VII. And I was like, "What are you playing?" He's like, "This is Final Fantasy VII." I was like, "Wait a minute, I know this. I know what this is about." And just like it started to click, and after watched him, then I learned a lot. And then it was game over. I like played Final Fantasy VII from front to back. Then I was still a little bit lost. That's what I'm actually replaying right now, and I realized how lost I was still as a kid.
Oh,
Uh, but then it was over for me. Then like Ocarina of Time came out, and then that was like the golden era of gaming. I don't care what anybody says. Kids today don't even know, man.
they don't
Like
even
that was
get
the
it.
golden
They
era.
don't get
They
it.
don't even understand. My like
Yeah.
my son, he's 12 now. He's about to be 12. He's like, Dad, what was it like in the '90s? I was like, Bro, you don't even know how cool it was. Um, but yeah, that's what I got into it, and then I just fell in love with it. And like the most hype game I ever remember being hyped for was Final Fantasy VIII. I just remember seeing it on the shelf, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's here! It's finally here!" I just lost it. right? And yeah, that's what got my obsession going. And then I always wanted to create that. And as I got older, I was like, man, that didn't even satisfy the itch. Still, I was like, man, I love to create this stuff. And I was always good at writing. And so it's like my English classes, my teachers were like, "Oh, you're good at writing short stories," and like I would draw like comic books and stuff. Like really early, like in grade 3, I remember coming up with the first like comic book that involved all my friends and became like involved like characters and stuff. And my teacher was like, "Holy shit!" Like, I'm sorry, pardon my language. Like, you're really good at this, and they encouraged me to start writing more, and that's what I did. So I like started writing my first book when I was like mad young, like grade 4. Um, so I wanted to create fantasy then, and that's when like I first came up with the Legend, the Tragic, when I myself was 12 years old, and it was largely borrowed from like Dragon Ball and stuff. And yeah, I published the first version of that when I was 17 years old, and I was never happy with it because of the way that I released it as a kid, and it wasn't very polished. But yeah, I was always loved RPGs, loved tactical games that made me use my brain more. Like Final Fantasy Tactics is very high on my list too, for sure.
I love
Pretty,
tactics.
yeah,
Absolutely.
pretty stoked for that remaster actually.
That's right. As of recording, the remaster is just about to come out. So
Yeah,
looking forward to that one too.
yeah, no,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so it sounds like that creativity part of it, right? That was kind of yours, but like taking like that passion for gaming, taking that passion for RPGs, you said that what helped you write and get that, I guess, that setting, right,
Yeah,
for your book is what you're saying.
110%. Yeah, you
Yes. Go ahead.
you could read Legend of the Tragic, and some people might say, oh, there's elements of like Dragon Ball, and like the way that Heinrich holds his sword is like Link, and just the way the magic kind of works is kind of reminiscent of Final Fantasy too, in a way. So yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh
cut
no,
you off.
you're good. So yeah, having that passion and bringing it to life too. I think that's what's key here because I think so many gamers and what I hope this episode, this podcast helps with is to let people see that like their gaming can branch out, right? You can use that same drive, that same passion, and put it into something, constructive outside of the game, right? Because we
Yeah,
definitely enjoy and love having fun in our games. And then when we get out into the world, it's like, okay, well now you have to make a living, right? You have to earn, you have to do whatever. And then we get into this trap a lot of the times. I was guilty of this myself. I worked in the corporate world for like 15 years, just thinking like, well, this is it. This is life, and it's like this separation, right? Of just kind of almost the existence. Was like, well, this is my home slash fun slash gamer self, and then here's my work persona. But taking that what you have like I guess from early on and actually much combining it much earlier than say I did. What kind of advice would you have for people that maybe like myself before, where it's like, hey, I'm going into work every day and I just I'm separate. I have a separate life, I feel like, between gaming and work, right? And how do you take that gamer self with you to actually do what you want?
very simply, I can sum it up. Listen to that inner child that you've been lying to for a long time. Nothing wrong. You're not saying, you're not admitting that you're a child or any less of an adult, but you're just, there's nothing wrong with giving yourself back to your truest self. And I do believe a lot of that comes from being a kid. Like you're the most purest form, a most like untarnished form of yourself. And there's it comes great balance in taking the time for yourself, for sure. Like I honestly even wasn't very good at it for a while. Like even my wife had to like kick me in the butt. She's like, no, you got to sit down for at least one day a week and not do anything but play games. I was like, okay, no problem. And it's easier when you have like the support behind you to do that. Not everybody has that kind of support, and not everybody's childhood is easy too. That's like some people have traumatic childhoods, and that's a completely different topic altogether. But yeah, just take the time for yourself. Like maybe it means drinking less beer. You know what I mean? It comes like a self discipline too. Like I've been like sober myself for almost 10 years. Um, so,
Congratulations. Yeah.
and thanks, man. But like, that was like, something too that helped me gain control of myself. And I've never felt like more like my kid self like I do now. And I'm like going to be 37 in literally 5 days. So, um,
And happy early birthday then too. Yeah, that's
thank
fantastic.
you. And so like I make time for it, and it's kind of weird. It's like even with Final Fantasy VII, I played it as a kid, but replaying as an adult is a treat because it's a way different perspective, and it's like you understand things way more, and like um yeah, I don't
I
know.
I completely get that because like going back because part of it's that nostalgia feeling, but then coming back to it with that kind of more say developed mind or just much more experienced, and you come back and look at it and be like, oh well, and then you kind of think like, man, what is that how I did it? Because like I'm so much better now. Like I know so much more. I have so much more experience, and the way you think about things. Right. Like, because one of the best, I think, skills that we develop as gamers is problem solving skills
Mhm.
because we do it for fun. So that's all we do is whether it's puzzle games, RPGs, just shooter games, anything. You have to quickly figure out, here's the information. You have to make very quick decisions based on what you have. And so sometimes you have to do that quick enough so so your character doesn't die. But when you take that out into the world, it's like, oh, well, have you ever noticed that like, you can come to an answer like, whether it's in a classroom or whether it's in a conference room boardroom setting, and you can come up with the answer faster than everybody else, and you're like, what's going on? Like, why is everybody not getting to this answer? And it's like, well, no, it's because you're a gamer and you have quicker problem solving skills than the average person.
That's crazy. I didn't even like consider that, but that's actually pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, any experience like that, if you're like, this is crazy, like how are people not getting this? Like, to me, I think that kind of problem solving and some of these skills that we have as gamers is I like to call it's like your superpower, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting about a superpower, the quote I love is that your superpower does not feel like a superpower because to you it's natural and innate.
Yeah.
But from the outside looking in, they'll be like, "Wow, how did you do that?"
Yeah.
So if there's ever been an experience where people like, yeah, if you've ever seen, like, "Wow, how did you do that?" Like that was crazy. No way I could do that. These kind of things, like people are telling you that's your superpower. It's like they
Yeah.
can't do it, but you can do it so quickly, so efficiently, and I think problem solving, like I said, for the gamers is definitely one of those.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I like that. It's somewhere along the way, I told myself if I play life like an RPG, I'll probably win. So and there's a
Yep.
lot of power in that. What you just said is like the problem solving and um, like growing up here in Alberta. I don't know how much you know about Alberta, but
Not much, I'll say, but yeah, go ahead.
it's very oil and gas.
Mm.
This is centered like I did my time in the patch, like roughnecking, freaking vac trucking. Like people wanted me to give up my life to go make them rich. Longest shift I ever did was 40 hours straight, multiple days in a row.
Whoa.
And I like was told to do more. And like I was like, no way.
Yeah,
And,
it's like, I gotta sleep at some point. Like,
yeah, no, and so it's crazy. So I've faced all sorts of mentality, but like when like mentality that's like would bombard me with like negative things and give me all sorts of reasons why I should do this, or this, and their way. But ever since I started to be like, you know what, I'm going to do it my way and play life like an RPG, things have been going way better. And you
that's
know,
fantastic. So yeah, do you have, I guess, any kind of examples or part of, expand on that story, like, treating life more like a game, right? Because I think we get into this habit of like, oh, games are just separate. They're there for entertainment. They're there for fun. But when we bring a lot of those elements, right? I know the corporate world tends to call this more gamification,
yeah,
but there's more to it than that, right? Like I'll say the surface level gamification, like just adding points and a leaderboard and badges or whatever, like the superficial stuff,
mm-hmm.
it's not enough. Like the gamification, like what we're talking about here, like true gamification, actually turning things more game like really drives much more. engagement, drives much more just productivity. Just at the core, it's actually like useful, right? Instead of like the superficial things. So what is
Yeah.
it about what you did that truly helped you when you're treating life more like a game?
Well, I got a couple examples actually that could offer some real life context. And I'll kind of go backwards. Okay. So like
Mhm.
when writing a book, like um like Legend of the Tragic is quite long. It's like it's about 800 pages, just shy of it, and it's like 220,000 words. And people pick up the book, they're like, "Whoa, how'd you do this?" And I'm like, sat there and grinded on it. You know what I mean? Grinded on it, and just like, what do you do in RPG games to get more powerful? You grind. You sit there and dedicate hours to it. You dedicate yourself. Um, yeah, you just sit there and dedicate the time. You care about it enough, you'll do it. And
And it's
or
I'll say it's funny that like how it kind of mirrors real life, I guess call it, corporate trainings or business leadership, all these kind of things, that these kind of crazy buzzwords where the I know the business version of it, I guess you could say, is like, starting with the end in mind, like starting with that goal and then working backwards, right?
yeah,
Where you're like, hey, this is where I want to go, and these are the steps I need to get there. And then that will give you a little bit more motivation to actually try. Whereas, I mean, grinding in a video game, nobody really grinds just to grind, right? It's
yeah,
usually some kind of a goal, some kind of a reason. You're like, all right, well, there's a boss coming up that's kicked my ass, so I got to go back and grind. Or it's like, hey, I got to go get this really cool weapon that I really want, or just this cool piece of gear, and
yeah,
unfortunately, I have to grind to get it, right?
yeah.
So having that goal in mind. So I guess when you were grinding, right? Is that how you felt as far as like I'm here's where I'm going. I know where I'm going, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really just having the image and excitement for the final product. Like even now, I'm working on the sequel to Legend of the Tragic, and I get ahead of myself a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm like, can't give away too much. So I gotta like, I'm gonna cut this and like save it for later a bit. And so yeah, it's about um, I don't know, just having that end product in mind and just really finding something you're passionate about for is key too. Like I was actually in the corporate world too. I was like in the sales and all that stuff, like furniture sales and like car sales. And I'm like, no, thank you, man. Cold calling. I like literally called out the managers like, what are you doing? You're going to annoy people. Like I lasted 1 week and just like, um, so yeah, but no, and like having something you're passionate about for that you actually care about. And that helps a lot, obviously. So when it comes to my stories and stuff, I care about it a lot. And obviously, in an RPG game, you care about getting that weapon or whatever it may be. Or what did I just do in Final Fantasy VII? Oh yeah, I grinded in the gold sauce or doing all the tedious stuff. Literally playing there the freaking basketball game for literally 4 hours trying to get enough GP for the stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, like spending so much money, but I did it. I finally got that ticket that lets me in all the time, and it's the same feeling, I guess. Like a book is obviously a little more a little more accomplishing feeling than that. Um, but it's applied to that. Like, in it, honestly, what led to me that mentality was a lot of my prior experiences too, not only in games, but like I gotta give a shout out to one of my favorite bosses actually, because it's funny how you say play stuff like a game, okay? And so I did my time in the oil patch, but one of my favorite bosses ever, his name was Lefty, okay? He's still alive. I'm going to share this to my Facebook and I'll take him in and be, hey, here's your shout out. And, but he just lives in a middle of nowhere place. You drive past it all the time. And just like, but like he was born with cerebral palsy, okay? So half his body does not work right. He walks around and like it's tough for him to walk around, but like he didn't let that stop him. As a kid, he like stomped like baseball tournaments and like pissed all the other kids off because he was better than them, even though half his body worked. And he just like he took that attitude and that inspiration. He's like, I'm just gonna play life anyway. And like he took that into his work. And like every day when we just show up for work at his coffee, he's like, today we're gonna go play fencer dude. we're gonna go play Bobcat Dude. We're gonna go play Filter Cloth Dude. So it wasn't going to work. It was literally just throwing on a different hat and going playing that part that day. And I was just like, I was literally amazed. I was like, after working for like assholes who like yelled at you, berated you, would never train you, wouldn't even have the skills to read a book, and never mind an instruction manual in front of them. That was such a refreshing change, man. And it just blew my mind. And I was like, I still didn't want to be in the patch my whole life, but he's still my friend today because like he like really changed my perspective of a lot as a man. It's just like that was so valuable, and I would listen to him for hours, just like talk about like him and his challenges and like with a disability, but like not letting that stop him. And even I would be working with him alongside of him, the supervisor who was standing there doing nothing but smoking cigarettes and being useless, get offended by a lefty doing more work than them. I would see it in real time. I'm like, crazy, man. And it's just like, just because he has a better attitude and better work ethic than you, it was wild. And
That's crazy. I love that example because I love the play. We're gonna play as whatever the
yeah,
Bobcat operator today, right? Because I for you that made it much more, I guess, much more interesting, much more engaging, much more
yeah,
fun, and I think as a result, like encouraged you more that, and you've actually performed at a higher level, right?
110%. And like, he was never a gamer himself, but like, um, yeah,
But
I
he
just
would fit
feel,
right in for sure.
oh yeah, he would. And like, he's still very supportive to this day, and he's always supported me on everything I do. And yeah, so that's kind of the difference. Is like sometimes you really gotta like stand up for yourself and like make your own boundaries. Sometimes not even stand up for yourself, but just like redefine your own boundaries. Just because um, like you feel a certain way, or feel like trapped in a certain way, doesn't mean you are. Like, I've burned lots of bridges. I've thrown gasoline on the matches and torched them and never looked back once. And a lot of them come back years later. Now they book my services. Now I make even more money off of them, right? And it really comes like I found confidence in my work and like in my stage. Like, I love being on stage, and like when I grab a microphone, like the room is mine. Like it's and I love that feeling. I encourage everybody to find whatever they're good at. Maybe it's the writing, maybe it's like building houses, maybe it's taking care of animals, maybe it's being a game developer too. Like, that's one thing I wish I could have did, but I was never smart enough with math. I was always like a word guy. But hey, if there's any aspiring game developers out there who want to like team up and help me up with some stuff, I got some work to do.
Perfect. See, right there, just connect it up. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the game development side of it too is just like its own thing. Because that was always the weirdest thing growing up. Especially like the 80s, 90s. It was like, oh, gaming's like go get a real job or whatever. And you're like, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. What do you mean get a real job? Like,
Yeah.
and of course, I didn't have the understanding at the time to realize that. But it was like, it's like, wait, like somebody's making these games. Like they exist. Like
Yeah.
there are game developers. There's artists and musicians and all the graphic artists and everything that come together to make this thing.
Yeah. Say, calm down, Karen. Game design is more of a real job than yours.
Exactly. So much of it. So yeah, whether it's the game design, whether it's music, I mean, there's so much you can do, and so
Oh
that's
yeah.
what, yeah, I would encourage anybody listening to, like, if you're interested at all in game design, like
Yeah.
it's a very like it's a real career. We'll put it
Yeah.
right there. It's real. You can do it,
Yeah.
and people, yeah, and so many good examples, and especially as of recording, like here, like 2025, I feel like we're in this kind of indie game renaissance,
Yeah.
right? Where like the AAA studios aren't like taking as much risk anymore, and they're kind of like floundering a bit, and now you see like suddenly lots of like indie devs, just like little small games that are just starting to pop off.
Yeah, one of the coolest people I've interacted with on Twitter lately is one of the original producers on like the GTA 3, GTA San Andreas, and all that. And he's all about the indie game movement. That's all his current work is now too. And
That's awesome.
that's kind of like goes in hand with being a musician and a writer too. Like, being a musician is not as hard as it used to be. You don't need a major label. Anybody can sign up for TuneCore or DistroKid and pay the fee and get their music online. It's that simple. it can literally be trash, and you can put it online, and a lot of it is trash. No,
Unfortunately, a
but
lot of it is trash, but it's so
yeah,
easy to have a label on it, right? So
yeah,
uh, the internet has made it so easy for so many
yeah,
things, right? Like you can, yeah, there's all like the e-commerce business, right? You can be an Amazon affiliate or whatever, and just like,
yeah.
or even an FBA, and just like, I'm going to just put crap on the shelf at Amazon, and somebody will buy it,
Yeah,
maybe.
but that makes it all the more encouraging to actually release quality content. And actually, the best lesson I ever learned from Lefty was not the playing thing. Was actually the things that are. Oh, I'm gonna have to plug in my phone. Just
Uh-oh.
hold on. I gotta plug in
No
my
worries.
phone. The things that are worth doing are the hardest to do, and that's
Yeah.
actually true in RPG games too. All the best weapons, all the best gear, all the best everything is the hardest to get.
Yes, and yeah, the Final Fantasy being a great example of that, right? The
Oh, big
ultimate
facts.
weapons, the golden chocobo, right? Like you got to work for it,
Yes.
and then you love it, and you have that sense of accomplishment when you actually do it, and when you actually succeed, right? There's a reason games have achievements, right? Where
Yeah.
it does multiple things, right? Because like I love achievement like that, just even the concept of an achievement, because it has those kind of milestones, like it, that very gamified way that it's like, hey, this celebrates that you've done something, but then the harder they are, right? Like you can say like, especially on like PlayStation, right? They have like the platinum, right? If you get all the trophies for like the single game, and it's like it's a badge of honor, be like, oh, I platinumed like 7 remake,
I,
and
I have a confession.
what's up?
I've never platinumed a single game.
Oh no.
Not a single one. I'm terrible. I'm a
They
terrible
take, some
gamer.
of them take a lot of
Never yet.
dedication and it's like in a
Oh,
lot of hours in the
I don't got that
difficulty.
time because I'm
Yeah.
so busy with like working on other things. I got like the time to I try to aim for like 90% completionist. If I can do that, I'm pretty satisfied.
Yeah, and so that's why, and everybody's different for different, games or reasons, right? Because, and I'll ask, I do occasionally ask my guests too that what is it about games that is fun, right? Because we know that games are fun, but my
Yeah.
question for you is why? Why are games fun for you, Chad?
Well, my mother-in-law, she makes fun of me every time she comes downstairs. She lives in the same building. And she's like, as I'm playing Final Fantasy, she's like, "Oh, you're reading again, Chad." I was like, "Yeah," because she makes fun of it because it's all text based, right? And I guess that's why I enjoy it because it's an interactive storybook. You know, not only like the gameplay. I think that's one thing that's really underrated about games is like really that really goes under the radar, even for a lot of gamers, is how much like work and like craft and dedication it goes into every piece of artwork, every piece of like storyboard, every character. Like to me, when people ask me like, "What's your favorite story of all time?" Like, I'm like, "Yeah, Lord of the Rings is up there, but so is uh, Final Fantasy 7." They look at me all weird and they're like, "What?" They're like, "A game?" They're like, "Yeah, a game."
Yeah,
They're like, "It's one of the best
absolutely.
stories ever told." I'm like, "Okay." Then I have to like explain to them why. I'm like, they're still lost." I'm like, you wouldn't get it." And yeah, um, I guess that's why it's an interactive way to enjoy all sorts of mediums. Like a big argument in the '90s was like, "Are games art?" Well, no shit, they are art because it combines all sorts of artwork into combine into one that you can interact with. And like another beautiful part of gaming is that an end result is that the artwork ends up kind of different each time because of the human like interaction and input. So yeah,
That's very true. Yeah, the no two play sessions are ever the same, right? It could
yeah,
be the same game, but it's always fascinating to watch other people, like whether it's on like Twitch or just or friends or whatever, just watch them play a game, especially one that you've played before, and it's always surprising. It doesn't matter
yeah.
whether they're better, they figure it out faster than you did, or they figure it out slower, and you're like every single little interaction is like, oh, they didn't find that one secret, or like, and then they'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even find that. Like, it's just
Oh, or they make you feel real dumb. Like earlier today, literally a video I watched earlier today. I'm like, I'm stupid because literally it was a Breath of the Wild thing, and I don't know if you've ever played, but it was
yep,
one of those ball mazes. and
Yeah.
Buddy just drops the ball, then flips it around and just like takes it on. I'm like, what? I just like I felt so stupid. And like, my wife is like, I remember you struggling on that one. I was like, yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's always these crazy solutions sometimes people come up with.
Yeah,
It'd be like, oh yeah, well you just flip it over and you know those are
yeah.
always fun. Just the yeah, the crazy solutions that people come up with are always super fun. Oh, so fantastic. So I did want to ask, so before we go for this particular episode, as we start to wind down, I want to make sure, as far as just kind of lessons and to help the gamers out there, especially if they're looking to kind of, use that passion, use their creativity, kind of do their own thing. Is there anything we've missed? Is there any like additional advice you would have for people that are looking to kind of strike out on their own?
Well, don't let the naysayers get to you. I know it's hard. Like I know like um outside input is hard to ignore sometimes, and it seems like you might have every reason not to do something, but don't listen to it. That's the best thing I can say. If I listened to any of that stuff, hold on one sec. Sorry.
Absolutely.
There's a point to this. Is one sec. Ah. All right. Sorry, it's usually on my desk, but I was leaving my desk.
Oh,
If
no
I
worries.
listened to all my naysayers, I wouldn't have came up with this,
Aha.
right? And there it is. All
That's
the
the
fruits
800
of
pager
my
right
hard
there.
work.
Yep.
I can hold it in my hand. Whenever I got this in my hand, man, I was like, oh, yes. I felt literally unstoppable. I was like, yep. And that's really never has really stopped. And to be honest, I have my bad days still. You're gonna have bad days, but like ride the roller coaster of life because you have every emotion for a reason. Like um, mental health is a big subject, and mental health sucks a lot of the time. But don't be afraid to feel your things out and like learn the lessons that each emotion actually has to offer, because there's a lot of power, insight, and empowerment that can come from each. Um, so all you got to do is like grab a hold of your own ship and steer it into good waters, because you're the only person who can. Um, just like any party leader in any good RPG game, you gotta make sure your inventory is all stocked up. Make sure you're the proper level to face the challenges ahead. Make sure you have all the proper equipment and all the abilities that you need. Because life's only guarantee is that challenges will come. It's how you prepare and overcome them that makes all the difference. And that's it.
That's so true. I love
Yep.
that. And just being in control of and taking, yeah, and steering your own ship, right? That I want to say that's something that happened to me before, as far as yeah, just feeling like on autopilot, right? Just for the longest time. And it's like when you finally take control, it's like, oh no, I'm actually in the driver's seat. Like
Yep.
this is my life. I can do what I want, and I can go where I want, and not just be stuck in a rut or stuck in just kind of a hamster wheel of life. It's like, no, that's not what it is. So just being able to take control, I think, is huge. So I love that wisdom. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no, man. Thank you again, just for giving me the opportunity to share it. I think like it's useful for anybody with addictions, going through challenges, like anything. Like you got this. You can overcome any obstacle for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Fantastic advice. So, Chad, where can we learn more, connect with you? So, like you said, you got your book, Legend of the Tragic. Like I said, you're doing music, and I think people would love to connect with you and learn more. So, where can people find you?
So I'm on all streaming platforms, of course. You can find the Chad Ellie McGee if you're into lyrical, fast-paced, high-energy hip hop music. Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, all that good stuff. Um, I do have physical albums available and physical books available on www.everestingenuity.com. That's where you can find all the information for myself, Legend of the Tragic, Hot Pretty Blues, all my existing music, lyrics, all that jazz, all what I'm about. Also, are the services that Everest Ingenuity also offers. So, if you want us to come DJ your wedding, hey, fly us out and we'll come happily provide that service for you. We have tons of great feedback. Um, or hey, if you guys want to like play a game sometime, hit me up. Uh, Send me a message and I'll send you my gamer tags on whatever. I actually don't have any of the like the newer consoles because I'm still playing catch up a little bit on my backlog. But yeah, Chad Ellie McGee and Legend of the Tragic is available wherever you buy books. I believe in the States it's Barnes and Noble and Amazon, of course. In Canada, it's Chapters, Amazon. Internationally, Amazon, your best bet. Uh, E-reader, like ebooks are also available. So if that's what you're into, um, and
Perfect.
yeah, um, that's all.
That's
Watch for
great.
more. I just released a new single called "The Demons in a Corner" last Friday, and a lyric video will be out for that on YouTube this Friday. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think yeah, as recorded, so I think when this episode comes out, surely those will be out, and we'll have the links for you guys in the
Oh yeah.
description for where you can find everything. So absolutely
Oh, that'll be out
fantastic.
by then. So yeah, but thanks.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for sure. So Chad, I guess before we go, one final question, of course, for all of our guests, which is, what is your favorite video game?
Oh, it's a tough one. Like to me, uh, I would have to say like it's a real big toss up between Final Fantasy VII, Ocarina of Time, and Final Fantasy Tactics. Like both, all three of
Mm,
those, like really dominated a lot of my attention and
yep.
a lot of my hours. And I think that is the biggest inspiration for a lot of what I do. There's just so many good games out there. It's hard to pick one, but I'd say those would take my crown, 110%.
There we go. So we'll say a three-way tie.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, good. Well, Chad, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for your wisdom, just helping the gamers out, just to kind of share. And guys, if you're interested to try to learn more about how you can use that gaming passion and really turn it into the tangible skills that you need to succeed, definitely check out my website, dragonmorexp.com, and you can start your journey there to learn what skills that you have as a gamer that translate into real world skills. So very cool. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, stay awesome, and we'll see you in the next one.